Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to go over just a couple of words. Honestly, this is it. I hope this is a good concept for you today. It's vocabulary, okay? I know you don't like vocabulary. I know you don't like writing out vocabulary. I know these things, okay? Because I was a student not too long ago. I remember not liking to fill out vocabulary, okay? But I'm telling you, this is the only way that I can really show this stuff to you. I want to show it to you in whatever way is most efficient for you, as well as is most effective, okay? If I can think of a better way, if you can think of a better way of telling me how to show you this stuff, I'll do it, but we need to get the words across, okay? Now these are always on the ACT. These are always on tests and quizzes. These are everywhere, okay? If you need to focus on words, these are the words to focus on, okay? Practice writing definitions. That's kind of a cop-out. Part 2, defining special angle relationships. That's going to be important. You're going to see these in just about every class you have. I wonder what happened to the thing. Where'd they go? Oh boy. Okay, well, we'll just do it this way. The first one is, wow.
Oh, wow.
There it is. The first one you guys have is adjacent angles. Okay? So adjacent angles. Okay? I don't have the pretty lines and everything that you guys have in the boxes and stuff. This is fine. They're called adjacent angles. Everyone say adjacent angles.
Adjacent.
Say it again, adjacent angles.
Adjacent.
Okay. Adjacent. Okay? Some people pronounce it better than say adjacent, which is probably the best way. It's like the word adjective. Adjacent. Okay? And adjacent simply means next to. Okay? And that's kind of a nice way to think about it. There are angles that are next to each other, but let me give you a real definition. The real definition here is angles, this will be your definition part of it, angles that share a ray and a vertex. Angles that share a ray and a vertex. Angles that share a ray and a vertex. Okay. Angles that share a ray and a vertex. It's kind of a strange idea here. So I'm going to draw some angles here. Okay, and I'm gonna number these because you're gonna see these things numbered sometimes. I'm gonna label some of these. Here's A. We'll call that Q. This is W. This is R. Okay, you're not always gonna have A, B, C's, and D's and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna name them kind of funny. Okay, this is a really good picture. Angles 1 and angles 2. Those two angles are adjacent. Why are they adjacent? What ray do they share? What ray do they share?
W.
Okay, so that's the way it's named a ray. Ray is a starting point and it goes in a direction. This is ray, AW, and remember you have to write that little notation on top like so. Ray, AW, that's the ray they share. What's the vertex they share? What's a vertex? Yeah, it's the point, it's basically the like the hinging point where everything fits. So they share vertex A. Now, that's the definition. But think about this next two thing. Okay? They're angles that are right next to each other. They're like next door neighbors. Okay? They're right there. They're right next to each other. Okay? If I was to draw, hey, here's something else, here's something else. Let me just start numbering these here. This is 3, this is 4, this is 5. Okay? Are 1 and 5, are those adjacent angles?
No.
No. Are 1 and 4 adjacent angles?
No.
Are 1 and 3 adjacent angles?
No.
No. None of those are. Are 3 and 4 adjacent angles?
Yes.
Yeah. Are 2 and 3 adjacent angles?
Yes.
Yes, they are. Are 2 and 5?
No.
No. So they're ones that are right next to each other. And you can see it like this. You can also see it like this. Okay? If this is 1 and 2, are those adjacent angles now?
Yes.
Well, yes, they are. Because they're right next to each other. Okay? So these are technically adjacent angles. There's also another name for this that we're going to use. It's going to be more specific than adjacent angles, which we'll call something that looks like this. This technically is called a linear pair. Okay? So we'll talk about those very soon. Okay? Next word is what?
Complementary angles.
Complementary angles.
That's the same.
abbreviate that. This is how I write angles, just so you guys know. Or the angle symbol and S. Complementary angles. What are complementary angles? You guys already know this.
They're like angles with the same, like, way.
Two angles whose sum is
Make up
90 degrees. Two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. Okay? What does sum mean? Okay? So somebody give me an example of one.
45 degrees.
Okay? So you have 45 degrees and another angle that's 45 degrees. I'm going to put little degree symbols here. Then does that sum together to be 90 degrees?
Yep.
Sure does. Somebody give me another example.
80.
What is that?
80.
Okay, so we have 80 degrees and we have 10 degrees. Does that make 90 degrees? It sure does. Somebody give me another example. 30 and 60. Those are two pretty famous ones. 30 degrees, 60 degrees. That's going to add together to be 90 degrees. Are there a lot of these?
30 and 20.
Yeah, we could do 70 and 20. We could do 71 and 19, right? We could do 72 and 18. We could keep going with that. Any two numbers that add up together to give you 90 degrees are going to be complementary angles. Now here's the funny part. You can see two different pictures, okay? You'll see this picture like this. What is this? Probably a right angle like so. Okay? And you can divide this anywhere. Okay? Angles 1 and 2 are complementary angles. Is that alright? That makes sense, right? That is the scale, yeah. Okay? This is telling what angle they are. They're angle 1 and angle 2. Okay? And this might be, I don't know, this could be 40 degrees. This might be 50 degrees. Something like that. Okay? Additionally, you can see this separated. You can see this. This is, I don't know, I'm going to say this is 40 degrees. And you can see down here, somewhere else, ooh, I don't know, like that. This is 50 degrees. These two are also complementary angles. Okay? They do not need to be right next to each other. They don't need to be touching. One can be here. I can put like another one like way over here. You know, this could also be 50 degrees. Okay? And if I call this angle 3, this is angle 2, this is angle 1. Angles 1 and 3 are complementary angles. Angles 1 and 2 are also complementary angles. Okay. What is the relationship between angles 2 and 3? Use the correct geometric term. 2 and 3. Congruent. Angles 2 and 3 are congruent. The way we'd write that is angle 2 is congruent to angle 3. Okay? That's the way we'd write that. That's not this word, but that's what we're working with. Complementary. I went to a Catholic school growing up. Here's what we did. We always said complementary. It's like compliment. You should always, whenever you pray, you should compliment God, right? Okay? So if you look at my arm right now, my arm makes a 90-degree angle. Your compliments go up to God. That's how they taught us. That's because I went to a Catholic school. I probably can't teach you guys that stuff. I guess I just did. But anyway,
Yeah.
there it is. It's like a 90-degree angle because my arm's making a 90-degree angle. Compliments go up to God. It makes a 90-degree angle. Okay? So complementary angles. Is that all right? Okay. What's the next word?
Oh.
What is supplementary angles? What are those things? Two angles. Whose sum is? Okay. Two angles whose sum is 180 degrees. That's what's up. I had this kid who'd always walk into my class. Here's what he would do. You guys got to watch this. He'd be like, "Sup, Mr. Minsky?" And he'd always do this. He'd always have his hands out like this. It was ridiculous. He'd be like, "Sup, Mr. Minsky?" And he'd always do that. Always, every single day. I have no idea why he did this. I don't know why his arms were out like this. But I'm like, I'm going to use that for the rest of my life. It was the very first year I was teaching him to be like, "Sup, Mr. Minsky?" And it was so weird. This makes, basically this is it. So you have a straight angle like this. Alright? We all know this is 180 degrees. You divide that anywhere, and guess what? Angles 1 and angles 2, they're supplementary. That student, "What's up, Mr. Minsky?" When he walks in, he's making supplementary angles. It's ridiculous, I know. I know it's ridiculous. He's the one who did it. It was so weird. I'm like, what are you doing, flying around here? I made fun of him a couple times, but he'd do it like pretty much every single day. He'd like basically pop through the door. Sup, Mr. Vinsky? It was so weird. I have no idea what.
That's awesome.
Okay. So let's just get an example here. Maybe this is like 70 degrees. This has to be 110 degrees. These always need to add up to be 180. Does that make sense? Always needs to add up to 180. You guys can handle this. Now here's the question. Do they need to be touching each other?
Yes. Yes.
Could these, if these were also 70 and 110, are these also supplementary? Yeah. So they can be touching each other like this, or they can be kind of away from each other, and I could honestly take this guy, pick him up, move him anywhere. If it's 110 at 70, they can be anywhere, any orientation, they can be turned upside down, wherever they're at. Still supplementary angles. Does that make sense? You will see something on our test that'll have some angle pointing off this direction, some angle pointing off this direction, and I bet you 3 people in this room will say they're not supplementary. I'm telling you right now, they are. Don't be fooled. Okay? They don't need to be touching each other to be supplementary. Are we okay? Can we handle this?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay, we can do it.
Oh yes.
Okay, what's next?
Vertical angle.
Okay. Vertical angles. Thank you guys for pronouncing it so well. Vertical angles.
Oh, that's what you say.
Well, I don't know. People,
Vertical.
vertical. Vertical.
Vertical.
Vertical.
Vertical.
Vertical.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna stop that. We're gonna should have said anything.
Stop.
2 angles. Directly across from one another. Just like from each other. And then this is the really important part that we're going to talk about tomorrow, and I'm going to write it out. Vertical angles are congruent. This is huge. You need to know that. Okay? Vertical angles are congruent. It's huge. Okay? First off, let's see what they look like though. Okay. You have some line. Right? Line. Is that a line yet?
No.
No, because it needs to go on forever. So we'll have to put some little pieces on it, right? There's another line that's coming on over here. Bam. Like so. Okay? It's a line. They intersect at some point. We call that point of vertex. Okay? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Vertical angles, they're exactly across from each other. Alright? Guess what? 1 and 3 are vertical angles. Okay, so if I was to list them, hey, angle 1, angle 3. Okay, those 2 are vertical. Guess what else? Angle 2 and angle 4 are vertical angles. Okay? Now there's going to be a couple more things that I just have to show you with this. Let's pretend this is 50 degrees. Okay? Look at angles 1 and 2. How are angles 1 and 2 related? They're adjacent, they're also supplementary, right? Okay? So if this is 50, how big does 2 have to be? 130 degrees. Why does it have to be 130? Those guys have to add up to 180 degrees, right? Okay, now look at this. I made a line right here with angles 2 and 3, right? There's a straight line right here where my arm's at. If that's 130, how big does 30 have to be? 3 have to be. This has to be 50. Why do those 2 have to be 50? Because these 2 are supplementary angles. They're right next to each other. They're on a line. So that has to be 180. Well, that's 50. What does this one have to be? 130. Okay? So basically, vertical angles are congruent means that they're going to be, remember, congruent angles mean they have the exact same measurement. Okay? And the way that I think about this, because you're going to see some diagrams like this is going to be ridiculous. There's going to be 2 lines. There's going to be 1 line going through it. Okay? Let me make these lines here. They're going to name 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we'll start naming kind of funny. Okay? 7 and 8. Let me move these. I'm sorry. 3 changes. This is 4. This is 5. No, that's 3. Sorry. Okay. The way that I look at this is I look at them as big angles small angles. Okay? Number 1, is that big or is it small in comparison to 2? Okay? Number 1 is big. This one's small. This one's big. This one's small. How big is 5? Is it big or small? It's big. This one's small. This one's big. This one's small. Guess what? All the big ones are congruent. All the big ones are congruent. All the small ones are congruent. Okay? All of them. Okay? But here's the deal. All the big ones, like 1 and 3, those are vertical angles. 2 and 4, those are vertical angles. Okay? 5 and 7 are vertical angles. 6 and 8 are vertical angles. There's big angles or small angles. Okay? Now let me ask this. What about 2 and 6? Are 2 and 6 vertical angles? Are they directly across from one another? No. There is a relationship between them. They're congruent angles, 2 and 6, but they're not directly across from one another. So 2 and 4, directly across from each other, they're vertical angles. Okay? 6 and 8, directly across from each other, they're vertical angles. Okay? There is a relationship there, but it's not vertical angles. Okay? We'll talk about what 2 and 6 are at some other point. It should be in there in this lesson, but it's not. Holy smokes, what's all that?
Oh my goodness.
Is that everything you just did, or?
This is everything.
That's actually
No,
everything.
it's complicated.
I gotta do one more thing.
Oh wow.
That's what we did.
Well, we still have to do this part right here. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't come up with all the words. That's kind of weird.
Linear pair.
Come on, I need one more slide. I need a slide. Insert slide. Here it is. Give me a blank page. Sweet. What's the last one we have?
Line linear pair of angles.
Okay. Linear pair angles.
Oh, angles.
Okay. Linear pair angles. Everyone underline the word line in linear. Linear. Linear means line. Okay? Linear means line. You ever see the word linear? What does it mean? Line. Linear means line. Okay. What does pair mean? 2. Okay. I'm going to define this for you. You're going to be like laughing at me. The reason I spend some time talking about what the words mean is because that's what the definition is. There are 2 angles, 2 angles that are adjacent. Okay, they're adjacent. What does adjacent mean?
Angles that share a range.
Next to.
That means next to, basically, yeah. Yes, you gave me a great, that's perfect, Sam. And make up a line. And I don't really like the way that this is phrased. They're on the same line. Okay? So here's the deal. 2 angles that are adjacent and make up a line. So here's the deal. Line, correct? Okay, I'm going to put a vertex on here. There's a vertex. This is now 180 degrees. Angles 1 and 2 are linear pair. Right? Okay. Let me draw a different picture that is not a linear pair. Vertex. Is this a linear pair? God bless you. Is this a linear pair? The bottom part? There's 1, 2, there's 3 angles. Is that a linear pair?
Oh.
No. What is this called then? It's called a linear triple. Okay. So it's going to be the exact same definition, but it's 3 angles that are adjacent and make up a line for the most part. It's 3 of them. You will see this. And there's a reason that we're doing this. You know that if it's on a line, that angles 1, basically the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 has to equal 180 degrees. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Down here, basically the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3, all 3 of those add up to be 180 degrees. That's what a linear triple would be. Okay? Yes, Sierra.
Earlier when you said you don't like the way that was graded, is it going to be worded like this on the test?
To make up a line,
It's not.
it'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be fine. Just the way that is. I just think making up a line makes you think that you're going to do that. Linear pair adjacent. Adjacent angles basically mean they're touching each other. So 1 and 2, they're touching each other. They have to be next to each other. Your homework tonight, here's what it is. I'm going to pass it out to you here in a second. All you need to do is basically keep that stuff with you. Okay, keep your notes with you. All you're really doing is identifying, is this a linear pair? Is it a linear triple? Are they complementary? Are they supplementary? Are they adjacent? What are they? If you need help with it or you want me to check it with you in the morning, just come and talk to me. Again, as I said, in the morning.